6 goal recording rules that invoke the law of attraction. I want to start this section off with a story. You're both 70 years old and you've been married for 50 years. Congratulations! As the good fairy, I'm here to grant each of you one wish. The wife immediately replied, "We have always wanted to go on a glorious vacation, so I would like to share my one wish with my lifelong partner and take him on a wonderful first-class 2-month cruise around the world in perfect health." So as soon as she completed her sentence, travel tickets magically appeared on the table in front of them, exactly what she had wished for. Then the good fairy looked at the husband. He sheepishly replied, "I'm really sorry to have to say this. I know she has been a wonderful wife for half a century, and I know she shared her only wish with me. But really, what I want is a wife that's 30 years younger than me." As soon as he finished his sentence, he instantly became 100 years old. The moral of this story is if you record your goals inaccurately, you will not get what you want, even if you are guaranteed success. You must be vigilant in recording your goals this way and avoid slipping back into old habits. Make a commitment to yourself to ensure that you have really captured the ideas presented here, and keep a printout of this near where you record your goals. So here are the 6 goal recording rules. Number 1, the deadline rule. You know you need a deadline, but it has to be a good deadline. Avoid common mistakes like month end, year end, or your own birthday. Do you really want to be working on your goal on your own birthday or on December 31st? Doubtful. So even if you do set a deadline by month end, it is unclear which month you're talking about. This is a clear deadline. I will finish reading my book by July 15th. Number 2, it must be measurable. You will not know whether you have achieved your goal if it cannot be measured on that deadline. If your goal was to be richer or nicer, how would you define that? What would being richer or nicer look like for you? Would someone else be able to identify it? Not likely the way you want them to, because those terms are open to interpretation. So how about we attach something more measurable to it? Instead of being nicer, write that you want to write a love poem to your spouse by a certain date. If someone were to ask your spouse if you were nicer to them, they could say yes, no, or maybe, because that question is left open to interpretation. Now, if someone were to ask your spouse if you wrote them a poem to them by a certain date, that would get a clear answer, not open for interpretation. So anytime you record a vague goal, you rob yourself of the self-esteem you earn by writing your goal in a completely clear way so that you know whether or not you got it. Belief. Do not, or make it brief. Do not use "and" because that clumps 2 different goals into one jumbo goal. So if you achieve one half and not the other half, then you can't tell whether or not you've accomplished the goal. So write it rather as 2 goals. But try not to make a story out of it. You also want to write the intended result and not just the calculation. So you might ask, isn't that what a goal is? Well, the answer is not necessarily. Most people use a calculation when citing their intended result. So for example, one of the most common goals is I will get a 10% raise. Well, a 10% raise is not the intended result. A 10% raise is the formula for calculating the intended result. So the mind cannot focus on the 10%, and that is the problem. It's too vague of a concept. So what's a better way? Well, you could say, I will get a raise to $55,000 a year by June 30th. Now you can focus on the $55,000. You can focus on imagining someone in upper management letting you know that you will now make $55,000 per year. You may also record, I will buy a car by a certain date. Well, people inherit cars, people win cars in the lottery, get given a car by a relative or a friend. There's all kinds of strange things that can happen. It may not happen that often, but why prevent it by your word choice? That's when the law of attraction kicks in. So instead of writing, I will buy a car, it's better to write, I will have a car. Because buy a car is the effort required to do it or the route to get there. But it's not the buying of the car that you want, it's the owning of the car. It's not the going on the diet, it's the weighing at most the certain weight that you want. So look very carefully at the verbs that you use so that you're sure you're recording an intended result and not the work that you have to do to get there or the effort or the calculation to get there. Be positive. The human mind cannot contemplate the absence of something. So it is self-defeating to write goals about losing weight. You'll say, I will lose 10 pounds. Or stopping smoking, you say, I will quit smoking. Or reducing debt, I will pay down my credit card by $1,000. The goal must be stated positively so you can focus on what you want, not what you don't want. So write goals in the positive only. I will weigh at most 180 pounds by July 15th. I will breathe only clean air for 1 week by February 15th. My credit card debt will be, at most, $14,000 on April 15th. And number 6, the total number, not the dreaded per. So watch how you record goals requiring you to do a repetitive task. So it seems natural to write, I will exercise 5 times per week, or I will read a book a month, or I will follow my diet every single day. The problem with this sort of unforgiving method of recording goals is that if you fail once, then you cannot recover for the rest of the period. So for example, if you don't read a book the first month, the whole year is lost. So by writing, I will read 12 books this year, now you can recover from a bookless month. So one suggestion will be to record the total number of times that you'll do a certain task and then keep track on your calendar. Now pick 1 or 2 areas from your discovery journal that you would like to start working with. Now working on too many goals at once can become overwhelming and set you up for failure. So write out your goals based on your remedy according to the 6 goal recording rules here or in your notebook.